Wow, for you it's coming perfect. For at my end, I don't know why it doesn't come properly.
I think I'm using a different laptop today, which has got a good camera. So if the resolution is good, then the background doesn't matter.
Your voice has also improved a lot. It's not cracking, thank God.
Yeah, I got a dongle, I got a laptop, everything.
Oh, your laptop came?
Not yet. It's a different laptop. I'm using
Okay.
my brother's.
Karthik, at sharp 11, I will let them in and then you keep them engaged for a
Sure,
minute and then I think Sandhya ma'am
sure,
will
sure, sure.
join. So might be we'll wait for 5 minutes
Yeah,
for everyone to join. You keep them engaged. And Sandhya ma'am ka I had,
sure.
you know the credentials, no? She was ex-head for this.
Okay, now that I have to look it up. I don't know that offhand.
Ex-head of
Um,
Froster and Solomon, ex-publishing head of
okay,
Froster and yeah.
okay. I think you put it on the group, no?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm letting people in, right?
Sure.
I think I could have set on my table only rather than this blank background. No problem.
Hi, all. Well, nice to see all of you on this Saturday morning. So could I request all of you to, turn on your camera and unmute yourself. We'll give another 4-5 minutes for all of our parents to join. Well, while we have all of our parents joining in, can we also just put on the audio? Thank you so much. I can see one by Miss Nisha Raina. Could I have your name also, please? Sir and ma'am, your name, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sunil.
Hi, Sunil.
Hi, my name is Nisha.
Hi, my name is Karthik. Well, I'll just go around and the other put on their videos and their audio. So Sunil, and where are you joining from?
We are from Delhi NCR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, great. And I request Mr. Arun Kumar Gunashekaran, Deepthi, also to unmute yourself and turn on your cameras? Well, we'll be starting in just a minute. Mr. Bharat, could I request you to unmute yourself? We're just going to have an open conversation over here. So we'll have Mrs. Sandhya Sundar ready in a few minutes. And we're also waiting for our parents to join. So in the meantime, Mr. Bharat, can I also understand where are you joining from?
From Mumbai.
Okay, great. So we have already the 3 metros covered. We have Mrs. Sandhya Sundar joining from Chennai. We have Mr. Sunil and Ms. Nisha joining from Delhi, and we have Bharat from Mumbai.
Hey, hi, this is Arun and Srimati from Bangalore. Hi.
Hi. So of course, Garima, and you're in Bangalore. I'm just outside Bangalore. I stay in a place known as Ramnagaram. Some of you may be aware of Ramnagaram as the place where the film Sholay was shot. It was this thing for Ramgarh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have another person. I also request you to unmute and turn on your camera if you're comfortable.
పోరాటం చేస్తారా?
All right, so we are, let's get started. My name is Karthik, and welcome all of you for this interaction. Our objective today is take you through what we have in store for the pilot program, which we have planned from the 1st of September through the 30th of September. We have with us Garima, who's the founder of Eggheads, and we have Mrs. Sandhya Sundar, who's so Ms. Sandhya Sundar is an educationist. She's also worked on the corporate side, but right now she does work that is pro bono in the social impact space, actively involved with certain organizations in promoting holistic development for children. Now, before I really, they can get started, could I, just an icebreaker, could I request that take a minute to share perhaps 2 things that we expect from the pilot program, and then we can take forward from there. And first, is there anyone who would like to just share what you have in mind to expect from the pilot program?
Hey, this is Arun here. So I think the only one primary thing I was looking was for how different is this from the regular education, because it's called as structured homeschooling, right? So we have homeschooled my kid this year. So we had this thought for a long time, and it's not because of COVID, but we got the TC for him in the month of January itself. And we had planned to homeschool him. To understand what are the pros and cons and are we able to do it, because we both are working. But our primary thing is to understand how different is it from the regular education. That's the only motive I had in the pilot program.
Okay, great. So address that. So we'll talk about what this program is about, how we can work together as all of us go about this journey in homeschooling. Yeah, next. Sunil and Nisha, would you like to share what your expectations are, or do you have any questions right at the start so that we can cover?
So for us, the objective is that since we've been thinking for quite some time to homeschool, as we're not that happy or satisfied with the conventional schooling, though Arish is going to a good international school. What we are looking at is can this, how can you actually help Arish to leverage his creativity and channelize the energy that he has into something which will help him become a future leader. Uh, that's what the expectation is.
Okay, great. So we will talk about that as well.
I think
I
Karthik,
think all of us.
your voice is breaking a lot. Not able to hear you properly.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, your video is also getting.
No. Well, I got disconnected now.
Okay.
No, actually,
Hi, Karthik, have you given this to me now?
Yeah,
No, in fact,
Sorry?
yeah, we can get started. So I was just going through a round of introductions and requesting us to.
Okay, I think just to pitch over from Karthik, okay, so I think let's have who all can hear? Please raise your hands.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Wonderful, great. Sometimes it does happen that connection at times goes here and there, but yes, we have learned to fix it and take it from there. I'll just do a quick round of introduction and then hand over for the expectation of the program. I believe I'll just introduce myself. Most of you would be knowing me. I am Garima. If we have not met personally, you would have heard the name of mine. Founder of Eggheads Education, having about 20 years of corporate experience and an education evangelist. Along with me is Karthik, who was just interacting with you. He is head of strategy and parent interaction in Eggheads Education, and also having a very wide experience working along in media industry, in education, and is also working with a very prominent residential school. I'll just give you a brief introduction about our director, Mrs. Sandhya Sundar. She is a very, very eminent educationalist, director of Eggheads Education. She has been ex-head of publishing in Frost & Sullivan, and a linguistic in and masters in linguistics from Mumbai University. She has many rewards and other things to her credentials, and she is leading the program for Learn for Life from a pedagogy perspective.
Ma'am,
So,
Vanshika Kamodia's mom, sorry to disturb you.
yeah.
I was not having connectivity, so
Okay.
I'm joined late. Can you update me if possible in short? What were you talking about?
Great, ma'am. So we were waiting for the people to join and just checking in the connectivity, that like the way we did yesterday from for the parents end, and you have joined exactly at the right time. We first finished off our introduction, and now Mrs. Sandhya Sundar, director of Eggheads, will take you about what is the expectation from the program, how are we going to take this September month, and then we will handle your queries. Yeah, a very warm welcome and a very, very good Saturday morning to all of you again. So from here, ma'am, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Garima. First, please tell me, can you all hear me? Because
We can hear
because
you.
I am on the phone and on the computer, because my system has been giving me a lot of trouble
Yes,
today.
ma'am, we
For
can hear you.
Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, so again, I'm really happy to have. Sorry.
No, ma'am, it was my child who was speaking in between. Sorry.
Okay, no, okay. So now, one, of course, welcome. Thank you all for, spending some time with us on a Saturday morning. And I'm also very thankful to all of you for having signed in on the pilot program, because it's very important for us to showcase what we think education should be. And this is a wonderful opportunity for us to bring our ideas to you, and hopefully bring all of you on board and be on the same page as far as education is concerned. Now, today I want to talk largely about the pilot program. Now, if you, a little bit of, backgrounding, if you don't mind, when I finished school sometime in the 70s, so at that point of time, our methodology was very clear. There was a limited amount of information. Teachers gave us that information. I repeated at some point in the year, we repeated that information. And at the end of the year, we got a wonderful certificate saying, yes, repeatability is very high. You people know your stuff. That kind of education doesn't work anymore. I'm not saying what we did then was wrong, because I would never, I think people who grew up at that time have also done reasonably well for ourselves. I think it was limited, and it is not sufficient in today's world. That's all. That's the worst criticism we can have about some certain kinds of education. Now, what is it that we want to do now? If you look at today, in our current age, there are two things that all parents, irrespective of whether you join us or not, I'm not even talking about that, will have to keep in mind. One is, when your children finish school, say your child is 6, 7, 8 years old, whatever. When he finishes school, let us assume minimally you will be in 2032, 2035. At that point of time, even you will not know what kind of jobs are going to be available, what kind of environment is going to be available for our children in the world. So in a sense, we are actually trying to educate our children for some kind of a fairly unknown future. In that case, what we really need to do is to figure out how to get our children into a situation where they can meet unexpected circumstances in a healthy, intelligent way. Therefore, if you look at what happens to education today, I am connecting 2 points. One point in the past, which said memory was the most important thing. One point in the future where we actually don't even know what we are going to do. And then we are today in the center. And what we really have to think about is, plenty of knowledge is available to all of us. Google research, I mean, you just open up the internet and you get any kind of information that you want. Education must tell our children what to do with all this information. Which information is relevant, which is irrelevant, what is useful, what is not useful, and how do I apply these things? Because, as you know, it's a cliche, but the fact is that technology is all around us. The problem is not the technology. The problem is, what do we want to do with that technology? That is one element. The other element is, through the industrial age, whatever different kinds of ages we had, today we are at a stage when we are talking about the age of what is generally called the age of humanism. And by that, what we really mean is the ability to connect whatever we do to benefit the largest number of people. We believe in justice and equality. These are terms which have assumed a far greater importance in public discourse. And it will continue in that same way. Therefore, we are looking, if you look at, to come back constantly to education, we have to decide, what do we want to do in the classroom? How are we going to do it in a way that the child can understand what to do with all these bits of information, plenty of information that's available and accessible easily, and how to do it in a way that benefits the most number of people and does not, and makes you, let us call, a good citizen, for want of a better word. In that sense, I don't know how many of you are on Twitter, and you have a lot of people on Twitter here.
I'm not
Okay.
there.
No, okay. Those of you who are on Twitter should actually follow Anand Mahindra, because that man will give you, he every day comes up with what he calls jugad. And that is really what are different people in this country doing with his motorcycle and his tractor and his car and stuff like that. Yesterday on Twitter, he had put up a picture of a man, of a farmer in Maharashtra using a tractor to milk cows. Now, if that is not jugaad, I don't know what it is. That is innovation of the highest. And he had switched on the tractor. He had one system of pipes. He was milking the cow, and the milk was going directly into a can, untouched by human hands. So that was an absolutely highly innovative thinking. I'm saying, how do I bring that kind of completely off the wall innovative thinking into my classroom? What can I give my child, my student? When I say my child, I'm talking about my student. What can I give my student that allows him to think in different ways? And there we come to a point where we talk about something called the learning loop. If I look at what is a learning loop, your children come to our classroom with a certain amount of knowledge already built into them. Obviously they've had some schooling, they've had exposure, they've read books, they've watched movies. So they are already they're not empty slate kind of thing. They already have a certain amount of information, knowledge, exposure. My job is, as a teacher, when I say I'm talking about myself as a teacher, is to try and understand how I can apply that knowledge that is already, how can I teach the child to apply the knowledge that he already has? And in what are the different ways in which we can apply that knowledge? So because application is going to be the key, not only today, but in the future. Information is no more, no, it's not invalid, but it's not the primary thing. Because there is information available at any point of time easily for everybody. How can I apply this information? How can I apply this knowledge that's with me? Then I apply something. Then from there, I go to observation of the outcome of that application. So look at it as 3 steps. I have knowledge. The teacher is telling the child what are the discussing and trying to figure out what are the different ways in which we can apply that knowledge. And then from there, we are coming to a certain outcome which will be observed by the child, and that again builds back into the original knowledge that the child has. So this is an infinite education loop. Knowledge, application, transformation of knowledge, again back to square one, knowledge, application, transformation. So this knowledge loop is what we are looking at. Okay, all this sounds great in theory. What are we going to do in the 1 hour classroom? So ultimately we are looking at being very specific in my 1 hour. Therefore, if your child is going to be with us in the next 1 hour, what we are saying is there is theory, there is application, and there is observation. Every class will have these 3 elements without fail. That application can be some kind of activity which is very small, some kind of a project work which kind of covers the entire 4 weeks. It can cover maybe 2 classes. It will depend on the kind of interaction that the child has with the teacher. We already have certain plans. Obviously, we are very planned in great detail, but those plans are subject to what is happening within the classroom, which is why we say we are 60% application. When we say 60% activity, we are actually talking about how do I apply the knowledge that I already have. So this application of knowledge is strongly built into the classroom itself. And that is ultimately the key differentiator as far as we are concerned. Once we've got the child interested into an activity, then the activity will have a natural outcome. Now, the important thing about this outcome is we are not very concerned with the perfection of the outcome. We are saying that the process is far more important than the outcome. Let me just give you an example. Let's assume a child is making a, a figure of the earth using paper mache. Now, that doesn't have to be a perfect sphere. When you cut the continents and paste them, they don't have to be a perfect cutting. But what we are trying to do is to say, this is the process by which one gets to understand this whole world. Because, you know, we are sitting in one tiny room at one tiny desk. For me to have a conception of the larger world in earth in which we live, I need to give the child some kind of visual aid right in front of them. So if I am in the process of creating that, I am not concerned of how perfect that creation is. I am concerned with how well the child has been able to go through this process of understanding, extracting information, figuring out maybe measurements, figuring out which part is the sea, which part is the land, which is dry, which is green. Our process is far more important simply because process is where the learning actually happens. Outcome, yeah, obviously we are going to evaluate the outcome, but the outcome is only one very tiny part of the entire process. So when we look back at evaluating, we are evaluating the process in terms of, has the child understood? Has he been able to focus? Has he been able to, what is the kind of effort he has been able to put? Has there been any gaps? What is the gap from the child's side? What has been the gap from the teacher's end? Has there been any other kind of issue? We're looking at everything. What is the key learning that the child has taken from there? We are looking at all of this, and one of the things that will be evaluated is the end product. But the end product is not the entire thing. If the for instance, let's assume we are looking at germination. And let's say one child's seed does not germinate. Not being able to do something is as much a learning as being able to actually create something. Because then you're starting to look at, why did this not work? Either we can say why this worked, or we can say why did this not work? You know, when I'm sure all of you play 20 questions with your kids. Very often you find if you get a, think of a number, okay, and you tell the child, think of a number, and the child has thought of, say, 45. And then you ask the child, is it more than 50 or less than 50? I mean, the question is it more than 50? And if the answer is no, the child gets very despondent because he thinks no has not given him any information. In fact, yes and no in this case gives you the exact same information, that some number is either above 50 or below 50. In the same way, I want you to think that not getting the perfect outcome is as much of a learning as getting the perfect outcome. And it really doesn't matter, because we are going to evaluate what happened, why did it not work, what could we have done differently, should we have done something else, in discussion with the child. So from the parental point of view, I would genuinely request you to not worry too much about the outcome of any project, any activity that's going to happen in the classroom. In terms of actual activity, again, this is a request to parents. We want your support. We want you to help we want you to stay with your child and see what he's doing if necessary. But please do not do the work for them. If they're doing it badly, it doesn't matter. If they're not doing it the way you would want them to do it, it doesn't matter. They have to do the doing. The doing of it has to come from their hands. And therefore, please, much as we want you to support your child, we don't want you to take over the work from them. Let them do it in whatever way they can. You know, very small children will paint a green sky, a pink tree. These things are fine. It's the child's imagination, it's the child's way of doing things. It's very important for all of you to please be on board with us on this particular element. We are not looking for perfection. We are not looking for perfection of anything. We're looking for learning, and learning is always in loops. It's in increments, a little bit today, a little bit some more, and then a little bit more. So that will take time, and therefore we would like you to be with us on our journey, but in a very obviously in a rock-like supportive kind of way to your child. As far as the evaluation process goes, there is no grading, there is no numbers attached to your child's ability to do anything. What we will give you at the end of the 4 weeks pilot program is an assessment, a qualitative assessment of the child, saying these were the things that were learned, and these were the things that he or she did extremely well. These are the things that maybe we could focus on in the future. But there will be absolutely no grading. There is no first coming, second coming, third, none of those things. The evaluation is only qualitative. That's a very important aspect. And as all of you know, today we are in the pilot program, we are concentrating only on language, math, and science, and drama. And if you have, Garima, if I can take a few more minutes, I'd like to just finish that last part of it. The reason we are looking at literacy is I personally believe that every child must understand. When I say literacy, I am talking about the ability to use language, whether it's English or your mother tongue, in equally well and in a extremely confident manner. We forget that language is the only way of expressing our thoughts. That's all we have. And the language and the thinking process is extremely deeply connected. And therefore, it's very important for us to give the children the ability to express themselves in a particular language. And ideally, we'd like them to express themselves equally well in their mother tongue, not use English at the cost of Kannada, Tamil, whatever Bengali, whatever mother tongue a child comes with. So that is our literacy portion. When we look at numeracy, I'm looking at 3 things: literacy, numeracy, and skills-based work. So if you look at numeracy, the ability to think mathematically, the operations of mathematics, addition, subtraction, all of that is one part. The larger part is estimating, assessing, evaluating. For very small kindergarten kids, we always ask, how big is a small elephant? Now, this is a very tricky question to ask a child who is in, say, upper KG. Because then you have to have understanding of dimensions. How big is big? At what point does the elephant transform itself from small to big? So these are all highly subjective elements, and the ability to think in mathematical ideas is a large part of numeracy. And of course, we have drama. For us, drama is pretty critical because the ability to use the body, the ability to stand, the ability to be very expressive with your hands and your face, and to be able to put across whatever it is you want to say in a way that somebody else understands, listens, and responds is very pretty critical. So at least in the pilot project, we are concentrating on literacy, numeracy, and drama presentation. Presentation for the child can be in the form of a poem, in the form of a writing, in the form of a video, in the form of a drawing or a craft, anything. Again, that they will deal with it along with their teachers. So this kind of more or less covers what I want to say. I'm more than happy to take questions at this point of time.
Thank you, Samya ma'am. Yeah, please, over to the parents. Anyone can start asking for me.
Hi, ma'am. This is Arun here. Thanks for walking us through all the details, and it was interesting to know about it. One of the other main concern we always had when we chose homeschooling is the socializing and how he will make friends, how he will get to know people, because this will be mostly online, and he will there is a restricted way of actually mingling with people and kids, right? So they will be in their own world. And do you have any ideas on how you're gonna tackle this for the kids?
Okay, here is the thing. Yes, obviously we are all in different states, different cities. I think some of us, I mean, nobody is, I don't know if anybody of us is even in the same city at this point of time. But there are two elements to this socializing process. From an online perspective, there will be a classroom. So you may have 5 people, 6 children, 10 children, 20 children in your classroom. It depends on how many kids take or how many parents decide to take one particular module. So there will be a classroom atmosphere that whether there are 3 kids or 4 kids or 5 kids. And there will be breakout sessions where they will, without the teacher, there will be discussions happening. However, having said that, because this is an online platform, what we can do is create a highly social atmosphere within the limitations of the fact that all of us are sitting in different cities and looking into a box. Playground matter is something you will have to take your child out into the playground, nearest playground in your building, or whatever is close to you in your city. Within the limits of the computer, we have classrooms. And hopefully at some point in the future, all of us can meet in the same city. That's always a possibility. And we would love to have, if let's say we have 3 parents from the same city, it would be wonderful for all of us to meet maybe once in 2 weeks somewhere within the city once this corona business goes away. So that is also something we are looking at. But if you are in different cities, then from our perspective, what we will give you is the classroom atmosphere. The actual socializing, we will put parents in touch with each other if you all are from the same city, so that at least your children can become friends and maybe work together or be together or play together, whatever. But that's about the maximum that we can do. If parents are in the same city, and this is largely from Bangalore, if there are lots of parents from Bangalore, be more than happy to have a meeting once in 2 weeks or something like that, where all of us can meet and mingle. I'm from Chennai. We have teachers from Bangalore. Mysore. We have a teacher from Kolkata. So if there are people in these cities, more than happy to, create common spaces, physical spaces where we can meet. Does that answer your question, Mr. Arun?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think
Thank
Firoza has the next question. Yeah, Firoza.
Yes,
please.
Firoza. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask, it's a 1 hour session, so the kids may miss out something. So will the recording will be shared with us?
1 second,
Hello?
Garima, I think you'll have to take that.
Yeah, so this is an online session. We will have a recording, and recording will be shared with you.
Okay,
Recording
and
of
the
class
homework part will
shared.
be there?
Sorry?
Okay, and homework part is there? Homework part, ma'am?
Yeah, so homework part is there. Homework part would be majorly in a form of a little bit of worksheets, and there would be some food for thoughts. So there would be observation kind of element left over in the class. So kids can be asked to think. There would be a worksheet also in some of the classes, but they would be left with some of the questions to research on, some of the things they have to ponder. So as I just like to add over it, as Sandhya, Mrs. Sandhya was saying, that when we are having a project work, you will see that kids will ask many questions with you, and at times, because these will be the answers that cannot be found in Google. The assignment would be something that they will not be able to straight away find in Google. They will not be able to straight away research, because they will be asked many a times to share their own perspective. So in that regard, it is being encouraged by the parents to talk to the kids. over the dining table, over when they ask you so many things, but do not help them to write it. Even if they write 4 words, it is from their thoughts. So let it be very, very natural. So homework would be in a form of a small worksheets or a small way of direction. How do they think? How do they do come up with? How do they measure? There can be an assignment where they have to measure the length of the plant. So these kind of assignments would be small assignments would be there. So yeah, they would be.
It will be on the mail or the WhatsApp group or somehow it will be.
It will be mailed individually to the people.
Okay.
And later on, once we go after the experience class, it would be coming on the platform.
Okay.
I think I can, I just have a question with Mrs. Sandhya ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes,
you explained
please.
so well. And
Thank you.
I just love the way the thought is amazingly well, and that is what we all parents are probably thinking about, that the kids are actually not using their mind or the creativity is not coming out. So that is the
Absolutely.
only concern I think which most of the parents would have, because in school the theoretical part is mostly covered and the exposure is not there wherein they can utilize their brains, because
Right,
every time they
absolutely.
are after the examinations or or after the scoring marks, like how many marks are there, so things like that. But one thing which I feel is like I'm seeing my son and taking these classes online. So I was speaking to his class teacher also. The kids, they turn off their camera and they put themselves on mute. So that personal touch is lacking, only when the things are happening on laptops or either on phone. So definitely the screen time is a problem. And like my son is 8 years old, so whenever the child is little grown, so they have so many cross questioning. So when I tell him that you should stay away from screen or you should stay away from mobile phones and things like that, so very smartly he has a saying that when it is the classes that is happening online, so you're
You don't.
fine with it. You're fine with it, and like we have a limit to him. We told him that you cannot exceed 2.5 hours. So at that point of time, what he does is he's trying to manipulate with the time of the classes so that he can have a
Okay.
better screen time, while playing online games or maybe
Okay,
watching
got
some
it, got it,
cartoons, So
got it.
this is a big concern, ma'am.
Okay, here is one solution. You'll have to see if this works for you. I don't know what is the total number of class. From our perspective, I think we have a 1 hour class, right, Garima, for the child?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Nisha ma'am, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Nisha ji, what we plan to do is we will have a 1 hour session, but it will not be continuous. Okay. There will be a break in the middle. Now, one thing is we don't encourage any of the children to put themselves on mute. Even if they are talking, even if they are screaming, it doesn't matter. We don't encourage them to be on mute at all. That's the first thing. The second thing is, in the 1 hour, we will have short breaks. So let us say between 20 and 25 minutes or between 20 and 30 minutes, depending on when the teacher finds it convenient to break at a sensible point in the lesson. She will be standing up and they'll do a little exercise, stretching, maybe a little bit of dancing to some music, whatever. There will be it won't be a continuous 1 hour in front of the screen, because all of us here feel the child eye requires a little bit of rest from the screen. So we want them to move back from the screen and then do whatever, the teacher asks them to do. It's also the time for them to take a bathroom break. So at that point of view, we will tell you when it is so that you can encourage your child to finish and come back into the classroom. One of the things we do encourage you is to have a small water bottle and maybe some snacks in the same room, not very far off, maybe, just a slight stretch away, so that even they're eating their biscuits or drinking water also, as far as possible, they're in front of the screen. The second thing, the other important thing is we believe in our teachers. So we believe that they're going to be engaging enough to keep the child attached to our system. My request to you is, if you have, let us say a child is allowed to use the system for maybe 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever it is, allow for this 1 hour. And you know, when you tell him to allow him to use the system or the mobile phone at some other time, not restrict it, give it, say, 1 hour for, you know, half an hour for Pokemon or whatever it is they want to play. I don't know what children play nowadays on their systems. Don't say half an hour in general, say half an hour for this game, 20 minutes for that game. Make it a little more specific so that they are able to, acha, abhi ye khatam ho gaya, today you cannot play this anymore. Now you move on to tomorrow's session. And hopefully we'll be able to give them enough creative work for them to not want to sit at the system, but use their hands better.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I hope that this will work.
I hope so too. We've been working very hard behind the screens.
I'm sure.
We'll see how it
Because
goes.
after this corona thing, a lot of problems have come up with the parents. The concentration level, the focus level, which I see my son is doing very well. Till now, he's in class 4th and he has been performing really well. No teachers, no complaints, nothing like that. But what I personally feel that the focus level has gone. The concentration, you know, which they get in a closed environment when they're sitting in a classroom.
Correct.
So because, you know, some of the other people is talking outside, some maid is saying something or some guest is coming up. So, you know, it is not their mistake. The environment is the problem. The environment is the challenge.
Ma'am, in that connection, I really want to say something here. Please try and keep your child's system during this 1 hour in a place where there's nobody walking up and down behind him or behind the child, girl, I mean your son or daughter, because that can be very distracting. If possible, please, if you can shut the door, please do shut the door, because if somebody's phone rings, or if, you know, somebody rings the bell in your house, or the maid is walking and doing jhadu, katka, whatever, then all of that should not become distractions for the child. So sincere request, as far as we don't encourage parents unless they are with very young children, 4th standard child, we don't even encourage the parent to be around. If we do want to be around, please keep your phone with you. If you do, we do want you quickly in the classroom, we'll make you a phone call and say, "Aap zara classroom mein aaja," you know, that kind of thing. So
thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, because I understand what you're saying. We have to bring some kind of a classroom atmosphere here. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, anyone else would like to ask?
Well, we had a couple of queries at the start of the session. So just want to understand if those queries have been addressed to the satisfaction of the parents. So we had Arun. Arun has already asked his question.
Yes, about
how
socializing.
this program is going to be different. And then if any of you have questions, you know, I think one thought that comes to my mind is how do we kind of measure the success as a parent at the end of this pilot program? And, you know, I think we'd like to also maybe throw some light on that.
Yeah, very good thought, Karthik. So anyone of the parent would like to address this, or you want us to say something about it? This is again an interaction session. I know you will have to wear your thinking hats.
No, it's very right, I think. And by the end of the session, you know, it is very important even to understand whether the child is comfortable and, you know, because it's a matter of his entire career to take him off from the school and putting him in this kind of thing. Because see, at the back of my mind, I don't know how right I am, but you know, there was a thinking that came into my mind that this kind of session which we are having, or this kind of classroom, if it goes with school, you know, I mean, before taking that decision, this 1 hour class, even if it goes with school and maybe after 6 months of time or maybe after a year's time, we understand that where that child is standing, and then we take a decision like that, so it works. Because for me, Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, please, please.
So nothing bars you to take it from the school. That is what one thing is. And you can, of course, take it from the school because anyways, we are not asking for any TCs. And this is a kind of, it can be both complementary and supplementary. But yes, as you can see, you have that experience, you continue with us, have that environment saying up, have that communication building up with the child, and let him think over and take an informed decision. I know education as of now is going through a very transition phase in India, though it is quite like if you talk about US and UK, there are a lot many online schools, and it is homeschooling is very, very prevalent and very common over there. It will have, but with the new education policy coming in, we are very hopeful they have again endorsed the viewpoint of having science and humanities and all the other aspects together. That's one more point, but it is yet to mature and yet to get implemented. So of course, so it is, it's not a compulsion for you to take it as a stand-alone program. You can take it as a complementary program to the school. And in fact, during the course, like Sandhya ma'am, me, Karthik, will be closely working and interacting with you people. We are always just a call away or a message away and a mail away. You can, and we can have an appointment. As I've already shared, during the course also, we will have an interaction with you where you would not actually be required to wait till the end of the program to figure out how was it doing. So Sandhya ma'am would have been, has already detailed how the methodology works like. So I'll just focus a minute again on that. We are maintaining daily a rubric order, that what kind of questions, what kind of answers, what kind of interaction child is coming up with. That we may not be sharing with you. The daily log will not be, I will say, will not be shared with as a parent as a format. Yes, but we can show it to you. How do we maintain it, right? It's of course at the wish. Again, as a suggestion, take it as a complementary program. Build it on along with the school, and then it eases out better. Have that comfort. Yeah.
Ma'am, what about the timings? Will the classes be in the morning, or I mean, if it, in the school also the classes are in the morning?
So that's again, so as I told you, the batches would be of sizes of 5 once this completes from October onward. Batches would be of 5, and the batches would be adjusted according to the timing. So one batch can be running in the morning, the second in the afternoon, and the third in the evening. According to the child timing, we will adjust the batches.
Perfect, ma'am. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask one thing. The base of education is reading and writing, right? So if I am moving out, I'll be moving out my daughter from the school. Being in a third standard, 8 years child is not able to read and write. And since pre-primary, she's studying in that school. So ma'am, for online, how she will be able to cope up? For reading and writing, I'm asking.
Ma'am, Firoza ma'am, the thing is, reading and writing is built into not just the English program. It's all, obviously it's built into every subject. In every subject you have to read. In every subject you have to write. Now, there are two, for the reading portion, if you find, for example, you can come and tell us, you know what, I am not satisfied, let us say, with the level of reading that my child is at right now. We can give her 1 or 2 extra classes for that particular purpose, which can be separate, not with the other children, just so that, you know, she does not feel that she is lagging behind other people. And, we can have certain amount of remedial classes. But even if we don't do that, when the child walks into our classroom, first, there's anyway going to be an assessment, in the sense that which the teacher will make and will obviously not share it with the parents at this point of time, in terms of where does the child stand on particular skills. In language, the skills are reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So there are four basic skills for a language class. Now the child will be assessed on all 4, will be internally told to us. And if, for example, a a teacher comes to me and says, Sandhya ma'am, the problem is this child is unable to read beyond, say, level 2 when she should be reading level 3. Then what we basically are going to do is to incorporate a certain amount of reading extra for that child within the same class. Our job will be to take the child to the standard level from where the child is now. I cannot insist that already learn up to this level and then come to me. Then what is my role? So in the classroom, we will assess the child and we will ensure that the child moves upward from where they are currently. And if you stay with us through the year, at the end of the year, she would have reached a certain level. Now, whether that level is reached through the exercises that happen within the classroom, or if required, we take 1 or 2 extra remedial classes. Remedial is not a bad, it's not a nice word. I would rather take, extra classes. Will be left to the teacher to decide in consultation with us. Subsequently, we'll come to you and we'll say, look, we really believe your child needs 1 or 2 more sessions of ABC, of whatever particular thing we feel she should improve or he should improve. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, I'll just add on to what Sandhya ma'am said here. Here is the importance of the coach. So when we were talking about what the coach is doing, and here is that is why the coach is working very closely with the parents and deciding these things. Okay, these are the levels. They work with the teacher, they work with the parent and figure out that what is the requirement for the teacher, for the child. Yeah, it helps.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Shivali ji, you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Please ask.
Yeah. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Ma'am, can we have some common platform with parents, or how the classes are going to take place? My query was that.
Okay, Sandhya ma'am, can I answer this?
Please go ahead, Garima.
Yeah, thank you. So Himani, yesterday we had done an, I'm sure your child was the part of it. We had done an IT orientation with them to teach them how to be there in the class and to be there. The classes in experience class will take from a Zoom platform. So some of the children were really able to grasp it, some knew it, and I would say that there was a little bit of peer learning. Nisha, your child educated everyone else how to use Zoom, so that was a wow factor. So and some children we can do again on Monday. There is again batches happening on Monday. We will incorporate, I think, again on Monday there. In September, it will happen on Zoom, and there would be worksheets, as I told you earlier, would be provided on on a Gmail account or your email accounts, and we will again in their first class, whatever the teacher will make them understand that how they are required to do the worksheets.
Ma'am, I had a little question.
Now, sharing of the parents' number, if you are asking about, and making of the WhatsApp group, we can have a concurrence from all the parents. I'm really not sure as an organization shall be sharing it, because then it can be a issue. So yes, if during the classes and afterwards, if parents have a concurrence, we can share. But as of now, I will say I will not be able to share with you the other numbers. We need to have concurrence from all.
If I can reiterate what Garima is saying, every parent must be willing to be a part of this common group. Only then we will be able to share. Otherwise, it's not right for us to hand over everybody's numbers up and down. So as Garima said, if there is concurrence across the board, or if there is concurrence from 2-3 parents, that's also fine. But not unless we get concurrence, definitely.
Yes, ma'am, that's fine. Ma'am, I wanted to ask one more question.
Please.
Once the program starts, how is it done? Are we informed monthly? Because in Vibgyor, my child used to go earlier. What system they were planning was they used to inform the monthly planner what is going to be done during the month. so we are aware about what is going on. So something like that is going to be informed, what things are going to be carried out in the month, something monthly planner.
Yes, monthly planner has already been decided for the September and it will be shared.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. So we are actually aware what is going on, and if something needs to be arranged, we can arrange for the activity.
I think mail has already been sent.
Today I saw the mail, but I was not able to open the link since I had to join this. I saw the mail.
No, ma. Okay. Link you must have got. Mail has been sent from the perspective of material required from the class. Okay, so we for September month we are doing small activities for the items that are readily available at home, and there would be some classes where there's some 2-3 vegetables or a smile spread and all is required. So the requirement list has already been mailed to all the parents. Please have a look at it. So these items are more or less commonly available at home. So when the child is having that period, it should be there on his workstation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so we have pretty much reached the end of our duration for this session. We started a few minutes late to give enough time for all of the parents also to join. Questions, do not hesitate to get back to us. Of course, we clearly look at ourselves that homeschooling support which also complements school learning. So having said that, probably let's take a minute more to share the thought process and how we are defining success in the pilot program. One is, our clear criteria in a way when we started this program was that we are really hoping that we have, parents who are, willing to take a risk in a way, but also are enlightened, who understand where the schooling system now stands and where it can go. And how we would like to really measure the success of this program is that if you could encourage your child to think of this program as not just he or she is not in one grade. Your child or my child is not in, let's say, 4th grade. Encourage your children to think of it as almost like a 7-story building where we have grades 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And your child has the flexibility to, go down to a lower story to learn something else, go on to a upper story and learn something more. And I think at the end of the day, the key success factor is if your child can come back to you and say, you know what, I learned this and I enjoyed the process, I think that will completely assure you of how successful his or her learning journey has been.
Go find your pen. I find it for you.
So that's all I'd like to conclude with. If you have any other closing thoughts, feel free to do that, or we could end the session.
All right. Any closing thoughts from anyone? If not, I will. Right, then I will say thank you all very much for spending some time with us, and it's been a real pleasure seeing everyone here. Thank you, Firoza ma'am. Thank you, Himali ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Nisha
so
ji.
much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Arun Kumar ji. And
Thank you, ma'am.
Meena ji. Mr. Bharat. Thank you all very much for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Garima ma'am. Also. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope to see you. Yeah. Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah.
Bye, Garima. See you.
Bye.
Bye, Karthik.
Bye.
Bye.